I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm tired of Nature Boy, so this might be a little ghetto tonight. I'm gonna try to remain professional, but I'm tired of talking about him.
Tired of just surviving, ready to heal. Gotta take some action, do more than kneel. I kept blaming.
Alright, so I have my notes. Y'all know I told you I watched like another documentary. So a woman left Carbonation, Malika, her. She leaves Carbonation. Her family takes her straight to the emergency room. So she was hospitalized for 2 months. Still kept in contact with Nature Boy in the group, FaceTiming. I don't know if they were FaceTiming, I don't want to lie. I don't know if they were FaceTiming or just talking on the phone while she was in the hospital. The hospital told her she had a really bad infection and I think it spread to her heart. She ended up leaving with a colostomy bag. I think that's what you call it. It could have been something else though. They didn't use that exact term. They said something about something being hooked to her kidneys or her bladder because they had to check some. I don't know. Nurses in the comments, if y'all know what that is, maybe you can drop it in the chat if it's something other than a colostomy bag. But get this, she went straight back to Carbonation. Velvet, beautiful, who we covered in episode 3. Well, all of the women are beautiful, so not let me not say that. All of the ones I've seen. But Velvet, who we talked about in episode 3, sis left 4 or 5 times before she actually stayed gone. The woman who actually got Nature Boy locked up, Janae, I want to say she left and came back twice, at least, before pressing charges. Now, y'all know I am late to this whole Nature Boy thing, so there could be another update. But with the last update I heard, he still had 2 wives left that were living in tents in Georgia, waiting for a man who has life without the possibility of parole to get out. This episode is about why, and I promise I'm not trying to judge nobody. This pattern is not unique to Carbonation. Somebody watching this needs to understand what is actually happening in their body when they keep going back to something that is destroying them. Let's start with Malika. So Malika was losing weight inside Carbonation. You can still pull up the videos today, right? She was losing weight. People on social media kept talking about it on their lives, and she just kept making excuses. Something about, I don't know if she was saying she was releasing her former self, or I don't know, she just kept making excuses, or her lower self, right? My body is just shedding what no longer serves me. It may not be the exact words, but I'm trying to give you an example. Carbonation, or Nature Boy, had handed her spiritual language for her own physical deterioration, and she just used it to explain away early warning signs that her body was trying to give her. When she finally left, and I want to say Nature Boy may have sent her home. Y'all got to understand, I watched, on top of the Hulu documentary, I watched like a 46, 47 video documentary, okay? A lot of information. So I don't want to lie, but if I'm not mistaken, Nature Boy actually told her, okay, you need to go home. And I saw someone comment and said that even Nature Boy could see something was about to happen to her and he didn't want it to be on him. But let me keep going. So when she finally got out, her family took her to the ER like immediately, right? Her body had been in crisis so long that it took 2 months to stabilize. The doctor said something about she had a really bad infection that I want to say spread to her heart. She left, if it wasn't with a colostomy bag, it was something. She left with something that had to do with her bladder and kidneys and all of that. It still needed monitoring, okay? The whole 2 months that she was in the hospital, she kept in contact with Nature Boy and Carbonation. And when baby girl got out the hospital, she went straight back. I was floored when I saw that. Now, Velvet, I told you her story in episode 3. What I did not know, because it wasn't in the Hulu documentary, is that the morning that she jumped the gate with her baby on her body was not the first time she left. That was the time she actually stayed gone. And I want to say something about Velvet that I think gets missed in all of this commentary. And y'all might not like me for saying this, but I believe Nature Boy genuinely loved her. I do. He even said himself that he never felt more love from a human being than he felt from Velvet. And I absolutely believe that. I believe he loved her. I believe she loved him, and he did not know what to do with that emotion. You have to think about his childhood. I believe she genuinely loved him, but sis didn't want that polygamous lifestyle, okay? She wanted him, just him. And I get it because, baby, Polly, what? I couldn't do it. I would end up in jail. I'm trying to tell y'all, I would end up in jail. I can't do it. So I get it. And even the times when Velvet was crashing out, because Velvet would crash out too, right? Watching that 47 video series thingamajig I watched, I was like, she's doing this to get his attention. So I get it. Okay. But here's what happens when a man who was never loved safely, who grew up in foster care, who was abused, who never had a model to show him what it looks like to receive love and not destroy it, finally gets real love from a real person. He does not know what to do with it, so he controls it. And then he destroys it. And then he crashes out when it leaves because it's the only real thing he ever had. The number of times the police were called to his house when they were back in Atlanta, repeatedly, one officer even eventually told a caller, listen, we can't keep harassing this man. You keep calling, we keep going to check out the house. Everybody's saying they good. We don't see any physical proof that, any abuse or anything is going on. She wasn't imagining it, okay? People called, cops came. They were always able to look around the house, inside, and then they left and came back and left again and came back and left again. The system failed them repeatedly. Velvet kept going back to the one thing that felt like home, even though it was killing her. And I believe it's because of the father wound she had that was never addressed. And Nature Boy, even with all the horror, he filled something. Now let's get back to Malika. I hope I'm not messing up these names. Definitely messing up these names because her name is definitely Malia. My bad. She is gone now. If everything I saw is correct, she finally left after like 5 years. I think she stayed after he went to prison, maybe another 2 years, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But listen at what sis said before she left. The wives were on live, and this is exactly what she said about Nature Boy. I really believe he's God. That's why we are still here. I know we sound crazy, but we all believe he is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And that's why we're waiting. Y'all gonna see when he gets out. And she was serious. And the other wives were in the back nodding. Ma'am, he has life without the possibility of parole. And I just don't see where Jesus was beating on people, abusing women. I just don't see that in my Bible. Maybe y'all got another Bible. It might be a carbonation Bible. I don't know. All right, here we go. We got Nature Boy. He's streaming from prison. I don't know if he's still able to stream from prison. I downloaded Bigo and was looking for his account. I don't see it. If y'all know any active accounts that he has, please drop it in the comments because the level of delusion that I saw, even with him streaming from prison, right? But this man said that God told him he is a treasure. I don't know what God he believing in at this point because Nature Boy said he was God. Then he went to prison and started praying to God. Then he turned Islam, allegedly. Now he talking about God is a woman. I don't know what he believed, but I'm just telling you what the man said. He said God told him he is a treasure, and where a treasure's kept, in a safe. So he's not in prison. He's in a safe because he's God's treasure. Now I'm trying to keep it together because I can see the little boy in him. He needs help. He needs a psychological evaluation. He needs lots and lots of therapy, and he needs deliverance ministry. I can do the deliverance ministry, but I refuse to do it if he doesn't get therapy. At this point, he may need a little bit of medicine. I don't know. As jacked up as he was, me being who I am, my heart still breaks for him. Okay, I know y'all. I know. Here's another thing. His own blood sister did an interview talking about how he came on to her. Basically, I think she had just gotten out of the shower. This is when they were in Atlanta, and she was getting dressed. He walks in the room and was like, what kind of man do you like? What kind of man are you attracted to? And she thinking if your brother come and ask you that, bro, let me tell y'all like, I'm not even gonna think twice. And then he says, so you're not attracted to me? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, if you stay around here, you're gonna have to, do what my wives do. She said, I'm your sister. Blood sister, not just homies, and we call it no, blood sister. This man got so far off before they locked him up. It's crazy. So he's in prison for life. Now, let's be real. There are people who had life sentences, and then just like that, they ended up out. So I don't know if he's gonna get out or not, but for now he's in there for life, but he's still streaming. I don't know if he's still recruiting. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen like recent videos. So I know he had like a little army in jail. I've seen that before, but I don't know if he's still recruiting. The women, as far as I know, he still has one or two in tents. They're trying to raise money to get an RV, but they're waiting on him. His own sister has come forward, and Malika says she believes he was the second coming. I'm going to look and see if I can find any interviews with her now that she's left. I'm going to see if she spoke out. All right, but again, y'all, this is not a carbonation problem. This is what an unhealed wound looks like when it has been exploited long enough. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this series was to show people that this doesn't just happen in the church, because people are like, "Oh, that's why I don't go to church no more," because they see all the stuff with the people in the news, the church, the pastors, the prophets, all of that in the news. But this stuff don't just happen in the church. People are hurting and they need to heal. That's what it all boils down to. People need to heal. If Nature Boy was healed from his trauma and what he went through, we would not be here. Okay? Here's why people go back, and we're going to talk about this scientifically, okay? Not spiritually. We got to know how to separate the two. So, leaving a controlling environment is not just a decision, it is a nervous system event. Your nervous system doesn't respond to logic or the list of every reason your family says you should go. It responds to what feels like survival. We talked about it before. When you grow up with inconsistent love. Oh, baby, this is how you know I'm tired of Nature Boy. Because what is inconsistent? Inconsistent? You mean inconsistent, Renisha? Oh, okay. Hot, cold, present, gone. Your nervous system learns to live in that uncertainty. When you find a person or a place that operates that same way, the high feels like love and the low feels like something that you already know how to survive. Your nervous system does not say, "Hey, red flag." Instead, it says, "Oh, I know that place." And when you leave, the structure disappears, the identity disappears, the community, oh, it disappears. And your nervous system, which has calibrated itself entirely around that environment, feels like it's dying. Your brain says, "You know what, I'm gonna just go back. At least I know the rules there." And then there's the chemistry, the constant up and down, the reward and the punishment. That's not just psychologically disorienting. It is neurochemically addictive. Your brain releases more dopamine chasing an unpredictable reward than a consistent one. I told y'all it's the same mechanism used in a slot machine. You are not going back to the abuse. Your brain is going back to the possibility that it might be different this time. That is why Velvet left 4 or 5 times. That is why Malika came back with the colostomy bag. That is why some of them are still intense. Another thing that I want to make clear, I watched a lot of content regarding this. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe there were more men who left and came back than women. Just let me put that out there. More men left and came back, I believe, than women. Also, there was an older lady that came that had some heart conditions and she was looking for a natural path to healing. She died. They found her dead in the tent because she stopped taking her medicine. It's not because they're weak. I can hear y'all. Oh, they're just so weak. They're punk. They stupid. They dumb. They this. They that. They the third. Listen, baby. Trauma, unhealed trauma, has made me do some stupid things too. Okay, doesn't mean I was stupid, but I've done some stupid. Their nervous systems were doing the only thing they were taught to do. I'm going to close this episode by talking to you, not about carbonation anymore, about the thing you keep going back to. See, you want to skip over what you've done as if you're high, mighty, better than them because it wasn't on the level of Nature Boy and carbonation, but you kept going back to abuse as well. The relationship, the church, the family member that you know it's not safe, but they keep telling you, "Oh, well, it's, it's your mama, it's your daddy, it's your grandma, it's your uncle, that's family. Blood is thicker than water." Hear me when I say this. Going back doesn't mean you're broken. Y'all don't understand how I used to cry. Sometimes I would look in the mirror and just be like, "I'm so broken. I'm just so broken. There is no way a man is going to want me because I'm too broken." Going back doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system was doing the only thing it knew how to do with the tools it had. The real work is giving your nervous system new tools, new experiences of safety that are consistent enough and real enough so that the old familiar no longer feels like home. That's what I built the Clarity Reset for. But before you join that, you have the opportunity to join my challenge that I'm having June 22nd through the 26th, the Halfway Healed Challenge. I made it super affordable even for the VIP registration. That includes a private call with me. So link in the description. Go sign up for that immediately. Yes. Let me tell y'all this. I forgot this part. He also made them sit in closets. Remember I told y'all about, or did I tell y'all how he made them stand in the corner? I don't know if I ever, because there's so much. I don't know if I ever told y'all, but he would make them stand in the corner, right? Oh, baby, he upgraded to the closet and Sometimes it was like for days, stuff like that. He said it was like solitary confinement. They could come out to use the bathroom. I don't know if he allowed them to eat when they were in the closet. And some of the people that had to go in there said, yeah, I did this to myself, but it built my strength. It's building me up. Listen, this is what the series has been about from the beginning. Not Nature Boy, the wound he walked through. And that wound is not just unique to the people who were following him. It's in our churches, our families, and our relationships, but it's healable. You just got to learn to call it what it actually is. Episode 6 is the last one. Unless I just add a bonus episode where I just go off. The episode 6 is going to be the last one. We're going to talk about the trial, the verdict, the people who testified against him, the people who showed up to support him, how his lawyer tried to get a mistrial declared because the judge had COVID and came to the courtroom, and Nature Boy was concerned about his health. She wasn't concerned about your health when you were allegedly spreading all those STDs, but okay, allegedly. I'll see y'all in the next episode.
I kept blaming heaven for what still bled in me, but the bruises had a name and they came from deep. So I let it surface, I let it speak. Hands open now on my bend knees. It was never